Most people don't know this, but St. Nicholas was a real man. It's true. He was born in 280 AD in Patara, which we know as modern-day Turkey. This man was born into a very wealthy family. In order to serve Christ, he gave it all up. St. Nicholas gave up every dime of his inheritance to the sick and the poor. I can't help but to think he was a great man. He was well known for his love of children. He also had a strange love for protecting sailors. There have been many stories and legends shared about his life and his deeds over the centuries. It took a while, but in 987 AD, St. Nicholas was introduced into Russia along with the acceptance of Jesus Christ. Skip over about 800 years later, and this is when he began morphing into what we know. The big change started when an author and illustrator by the name of Washington Irving began depicting him as a Dutch elf, not a saint. This is the same man responsible for stories like Sleepy Hollow. Then in 1931, Coca-Cola had their way with the legendary saint. They decided to put him in red sackcloth and fur. He was in every publication they used for advertising their brand during the season. Many of the signs look like the one above, with the slogan that read, "My hat's off to the paws that refreshes." Over the last 80 years, Santa hasn't changed that much. In fact, he's become more commercialized. When we see the photo of Santa, we think Christmas sales and what am I going to get for Christmas? For this assignment, I'm going to explain how technology has impacted the way the story of St. Nicholas is told. First of all, there's print media. The book known as "'Twas the Night Before Christmas" was published in 1823, starting with only 4 copies. But thanks to modern-day technology, we have presses capable of printing thousands of books in one day, and this book happens to have sold millions to date. Radio was made popular in the early 1900s. Although I've searched far and wide, I could find no definite date for the first radio broadcast of the popular story. I only found that it was read many times. With the breakthrough of radio technology, stories of Santa have been readily available throughout the radio waves for over 100 years. Then television became popular right after the radio, in the early 1900s, somewhere around 1928. It didn't take long and Santa was making his first television movie appearance in a full-length movie called Babes in Toyland, which was first shown in 1934. Then between 1980 and 2005, video stores were all the rage. From 1980 to 1995, everyone was renting and buying videos. By the late 90s, we switched to DVDs. Just about any movie that you can imagine is on DVD. With that now, movies with different images of St. Nicholas, aka Santa Claus. I'll give you a few examples. There's The Christmas Story, Elf, The Polar Express, Rudolph, Santa Claus, the movie, just to name a few. Then there's the internet. The internet has offered just about any type of media you can imagine. Stories can be downloaded to your iPod in an audiobook format or viewed as a movie. We can watch Netflix and download our movies instantly or read a digital book. With that, new movies are coming out every day in different renditions of Santa. For the most part, his character is similar in all of them. Otherwise, a few evil Santas here and there, like the film Bad Santa with Billy Bob Thornton. It just depends on if you want to read it, if you want to watch it, or you want to hear it. To address the statement, identify the impact of technology development on the telling of this story. The message is getting out much faster. In the early 1900s, the story of Santa, or Saint Nick, varied from child to child. Now they seem to all line up with each other. People are very familiar with Santa and who he is. The sad part is, they have no clue who Saint Nick is. The story is a long way from the servant of Christ trying to feed the hungry and the poor. What is the main idea of the story? I feel like even though we're far off from the original story, the meaning is twofold. The common theme is, giving is better than receiving. On the day of Christ's birth, we should open our doors and our pockets to show love and give to those who are in need. However, going back to the original St. Nicholas, the underlying meaning seems to be help others in need, no matter what time of year. What are the different medias used to tell this story? Well, if you look up above and see what we've gone through before, just about every method imaginable in some form. Books, movies, podcasts, really the possibilities are endless, and every one of them has been used. How did the story change to adapt to new media or storytelling methods? In the 20th century, St. Nicholas was changed to appeal to children, not just people in general. He became more of a commercial character. Originally, he was a wealthy man who gave up everything to help the needy. As the story spread by word of mouth in the 1800s, he was given a new outfit, the red and white we see today. When Coca-Cola saw the color theme, they started thinking about the Christmas season. They began to commercialize Santa and use his face of Coca-Cola for the giving season. It was with this character they began to make claymation cartoons and then move on to the real-life Santa. They changed his character to have more commercial appeal, and it's paid off hugely. Let's face it, a regular everyday guy with a robe and no money doesn't have the commercial quality that Santa does, no matter how good of a man St. Nicholas was. In your opinion, was any important element of the story lost due to the change, or was something important gained? In my opinion, I believe the original element of the story of St. Nicholas was completely lost. If he was to see what Christmas had become, I believe it would make him ill. I don't know the man himself, but his character is that of a man who gives up everything for others. There is definitely nothing wrong with a jolly man in a red suit, but St. Nick never intended for people to run over each other to get the last Xbox on the shelf and forget about everyone outside of their home. His story has changed dramatically, and it's no longer a representation of what he intended. What draws people of different cultures to this story? It seems as though the character of St. Nicholas was loved by many. Word spread rapidly of his generosity and his love for others. As I read about this man, I've come to realize the story changed as it crossed different oceans. Many people love the idea of Christmas, even though they might not call it Christmas. People love to give and to receive. It's a joyful time of year, and people are drawn to the love and the closeness of being with family. I personally celebrate the birth of Christ, but many just celebrate being with family and time together, and they give gifts in celebration.